undertaking a study to assess the knowledge, attitude, and practices that may constrain or promote the use of UAVs in road infrastructure projects in Uganda. I'm undertaking this study with a team that is comprised of Dr. Msinguzi Moses, Dr. Lydia Mazi, Mr. Bamoyana Ivan, and Ms. Aveho Diana. That is my outline for the presentation. Unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs also commonly known as drones, have gained a lot of attention over the last few years, and they've been used for mapping, and also they've provided up-to-date high-resolution images. These UAVs in Uganda and other developing countries have been used in a number of civil applications, like entertainment like videography, photography. I believe you've seen them if you've attended weddings, and mapping, among others. However, their adoption in the road infrastructure projects is really limited, and this has limited their exploitation of their benefits in this sector in Uganda. So improving their usage requires to develop policies that streamline their operations in Uganda. Though these policies need to be informed by the current knowledge, attitude, and practices by potential users about UAVs. However, no empirical study has been carried out to obtain such fundamental information. So this study is to assess the knowledge, attitude, and practices so that we can get this fundamental knowledge required to come up with the policies. The methodology used, this study is a mixed methods research that is both quantitative and qualitative in nature. This questionnaire was administered online to potential UAV users in government, the academia, and the private sector in Uganda. These questions in the survey follow the KAPs model, and the questionnaire can be accessed through that link. Please note that this survey is ongoing, and I'll request the team to share the link in the comment section so that you can help and respond accordingly. So what do I mean by knowledge? We would like to know how much do these potential users know about UAVs? Have they ever undergone any trainings? Which operations can they actually undertake using UAVs? For the attitude, which opinion or perspective do they have about the use of UAVs in road infrastructure projects? And then for the practices, have they actually used these UAVs in any civil application? And also our organizations, do they create a demand for this technology? So as I've said, that it's an ongoing research, and the survey is targeting potential UAV users in the government that is the central and the local government. The central government involves the ministry, departments, and other agencies, authorities. Then there is the local government, the private sector, and the academic institutions. So far, I've received 182 responses. So I'll go straight to the results so far. For the knowledge part, I've used the Pareto chart. Here I've based on having people who said that they've ever attended a presentation about UAVs and also gone through a training to become pilots or commanders. So out of the 98 that have not attended any presentation on the UAVs, 3 say that they have undergone training to become pilots or commanders. And then of the 84 that have actually attended a presentation about these unmanned aerial vehicles, 30 have undergone training to become either pilots or commanders. Then also, there's a question that I was asking to know which operations they can comfortably take while using UAVs, like assembling it, planning a flying mission, processing images, flying these UAVs either in manual or automated mode. So 42.5 of them of the respondents so far show that they have practical knowledge in planning and flying a UAV, planning the mission. 43% are able to do the mapping, the image processing. Then I also used the Pearson correlation to have a correlation between the people who have gone through the training. Can they actually undertake these different activities, like assembling the UAV, carrying out the mission, operating a fixed wing, operating a copter. So as you can see, the values of the coefficient correlation falls within that interval of -1 and 1. So it demonstrates that there's actually a correlation between these two. But then it is negative. So it shows that when one is decreasing, one is increasing. Yet it should be that if the more the trainings, the more the people should be undertaking these activities. Sorry. Then for the attitude aspect, I asked to have an opinion as to whether they think that this technology can be used to improve on the limitations faced during the road infrastructure projects. So these limitations are like time overruns, cost overruns, among others. And 78 of them show that they are in support and they agree that the use of UAVs can actually improve on these limitations while executing these projects. Then also, there was a question asking about their support in using these UAVs while carrying out the road infrastructure projects. And 85% show that they support this use, the use of UAVs while carrying out the project. Then for the practices, I was inquiring on how they have used them in the different civilian applications, and 53 of them show that they actually have used them in the different applications. Then there was a question to ask whether they can easily change from the satellite imagery, from the other methods they're using now, to use UAVs, and 118 of them actually show that they can change. And also, there was a question to ask to find out whether the current organizational budgets actually encourage the demand for UAV technology, and 95 indicated that no, it does not create, as they went on to elaborate, that this technology requires expertise, and also the institutions cannot afford them, as there's a perception that they are expensive. So on the knowledge part, of the 84, only 30 have undergone the training. And also the correlation coefficient, the Pearson correlation, was negative, which showed that there is more training needed so that it goes in the positive direction. For the attitude, with the average percentages, it showed that they have a positive attitude toward the use of UAVs. And for my discussion, the current practices actually show that most of these potential UAV users have they have mostly used the UAVs in the entertainment world. And also the demand is affected by the lack of expertise and also the perception that it is an expensive technology. So the knowledge that the potential users have regarding these UAVs is really, really limited. And then this really constrains the utilization of the technology. Then the attitude towards the technology is positive, and this can be used to promote the technology. However, the current practices in place constrain the use of UAVs since they do not create the demand. So for my recommendations, there is need to sensitize a lot of the masses about the advantages and benefits of using UAV technology. And also, there is need to train these potential UAV users in the construction sector so that they gain skill and expertise. And then the academic institutions, at least they need to introduce these UAVs in their curriculum, just like GIS, and they inform us early enough so that we get interested in the technology. And then to the government, they need to develop policies that support and encourage the use of UAVs. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Barbara, for giving us a very good insight into the attitudes of people towards UAVs. There's a question online. This is from Henry Chiza, who says, could the measurements also be affected by the lack of a comprehensive geoid of the country? Then that is the measurements using the UAVs. So does the geoid, for lack of an accurate geoid, for example, can it affect the measurements from these UAVs? That's from Chiza online, Chiza Henry. Okay. So he continues, says, could that be the reason why most people are embracing the technology? Okay, that's not clear. Okay, any other question from the audience here? That goes to Barbara. Or a comment? Okay, if there's none, I was just thinking that that negative relation, don't you think maybe some people, after being trained, they can't just access the equipment, mostly for the technical ones, for the mapping, not the ones. So you may be trained, but you can't access, so you'll never apply or do your work using UAVs. Don't you think that can be a reason?
So if you're trained, I believe you can put in a word to your organization. I believe, just like GIS, most people have actually brought GIS into their organization as a new technology, as a new software. So this can be done the same as for the UAV technology. If you go through the training, you can put in a word and encourage them to purchase whatever you need to use.
Okay, thank you very much, Barbara.